Okay, it is time to record my thoughts. I don't know why I always start with record. I should really not. Okay, but as you can see from what is on your screen, that Tokyo Ghoul is today's my thoughts topic. So, yet again, I'm going to attempt to not, over talk about, the actual story, but I don't know, then that's kind of like what you really should talk about. Whatever. So, basically, I am going to start with the story, though. Basically, Tokyo Ghoul is an anime. I absolutely adore it. I love it. It's currently in its season 3, which is why I decided to do it, on this topic and everything. But it's a lot of different things. So it starts off kind of, kind-hearted. It doesn't really, you don't really think all that much of it. All you really know is that there's a guy named Ken, and then there's a girl that's, kind of cute that he likes. They both read books, and, hey, they both drink coffee and read books. There you go. That's all the similarity you need. Wifer. So he decides to, go on a little bit of a date with her. And then I can't remember whether it's on their way to the date or on their way home from the date. I think it's home from the date. He finds out that she is a ghoul and she tries to eat him. So now I'm going to run down ghouls real quick, such as they're basically humans that want to eat humans. So as you can see on the screen, there's a giant, the tentacles-looking things coming out of his back, and his eyes all, red and bloody, but black background. Yeah, so that's kind of what a ghoul would look like. Now, they're basically exactly human in every way, shape, and form, except for the fact that they have these things that are capable of launching out of their back, which is like that. I don't know the technical term for it. It's Japanese word. There you go. And that's really just the main way. It's the main difference. And then the second difference is the fact that their eyes turn red with a black background. But ghouls are a lot stronger than regular humans. Their skin's a lot stronger as well, such as a regular knife cannot actually cut through them. They need a specially made knife. That's the best way I'm going to describe that. A special made knife to actually cut through them. Or the weapons that the police use against them. To actually injure them in any way. But this guy, as I was saying, he got attacked by by the ghoul. And she tried to eat him, Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Ghouls are only capable of eating human flesh. Everything else tastes terrible to them, and they have to spit it out, it's inedible. If they eat regular human food like a cheeseburger, it's inedible. They can only eat human flesh, any part of human flesh, bone and all. Okay, they can also eat ghoul flesh as well. That's gonna come up again in the future. But she bites him. And then they get in a little bit of an accident because they're on a construction site. Some things fall, stuff happens, and she dies. At least that's what we believe. It's never really 100% confirmed, but whatever. But they take out some of her organs, and they actually implant it into into his body to save his life. Doing this causes him to turn into a half ghoul. Now, even though he's a half ghoul, he's literally a ghoul. I might as well not even say half ghoul. He is a ghoul because he has all the benefits and all the problems of being a ghoul, such as he can't eat regular food, he needs to eat flesh, and his skin's become impervious. The only difference he has is the fact that only one of his eyes change into the ghoul's eye. Such as you can see from the image in front of us, that is him when he's in his ghoul form. And the other eye, the reason you can't see it is because it is a regular human eye. So his mask that he wears, covers it. So because of this, he needs to enter into the ghouls' society. So they kind of live in secret to regular humans. Kind of like, like if a regular criminal, like if you commit a crime and then you weren't found out about it and you're trying to hide out, that's basically what they're doing, but more efficiently. So they wear masks whenever they're actually trying to like kill people and eat, so that like their face doesn't get recognized. As I said, because the only thing that actually changes is their whatever the heck it's called, their eyes. Because of this, that's his mask that he has on right in front of him, where it has like the teeth symbol or the teeth looking stuff on the bottom, and then his one eye that's regular is actually covered, but his other eye is displayed. And yeah. So he now lives in like the Ghoul Society. He's learning how to not eat humans, but to still survive. They're giving him like specialty foods and stuff like that. We realize that like the one thing that ghouls and humans can both enjoy, and we have no idea why, is coffee. For whatever reason, ghouls can drink coffee and just not care and think it's perfectly fine. But then, whatever the heck they're called, and humans, I don't know why I couldn't think of the word humans, can also drink coffee, and, to them it would be regular. So, yeah, he learns a few things, and he actually starts to, like, get happy with life again. He meets this girl, and she's just great. There's only one flaw: she's a ghoul. I was referencing a song there. If you know what song, good kudos to you. If you don't, it's from America's Got Talent. But but yeah. So they start to like really build up his characters. This other girl has some backstory about her, and blah 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 blah. Until, the second season comes around. So in the second season, he kind of gets captured. And we meet this ghoul gang that's called like Ego or something like that. I know it starts with an A, and that's really all I can think about it right now. And they kind of hate humans, sort of. They're just like always at war for no apparent reason. And they actually capture him, and one of their like big members, who's evil, very messed up in the head, tortures him. And then he turns him into see what you see in front of him now. Before, he actually had black hair, and he had like his sanity intact, and he had like regular fingernails. He didn't eat people at all, and so on and so forth. But then he was tortured for not even like that long. It was like a day or two, I think. It could have been longer. Actually, no, I think it was more like a week. And the torture consisted mostly of him cutting off his fingers and toes and hands and feet. Like over and over and over again, because for whatever reason he had like he was very quick with regenerating. Like he healed faster than a regular ghoul. And yeah. So because of that, like, he found immense pleasure torturing him. And then it turned him completely insane. And then, another extra torture technique was they put a weird centipede in his ears, which, crawled around and, like, chewed on his brain. But then, like, would immediately heal up, so it wouldn't really matter. And then to prevent him from going insane, they did what is 1,000 minus 7, and then you continue to like do the math slower, just getting to a lower number, just trying to focus on that so you don't turn insane. And then he kind of picks up on these techniques, and then he eventually escapes and murders the man that was torturing him. He then joins the group Ego whatever, and he starts going in extreme cannibalism and actually eats a ton of ghouls, not really eating any humans. And this actually gives him some like insane powers. It causes him to like gain this better, like the thing that's coming out of his back, like better version of those. basically. And from there, he just, yeah. Eventually, his friends from like his original group are threatened because the police, they realize like where their group is staying, which is this coffee shop, and then they do a full-on assault. So then he goes in to save his friends, which his friends consist of this one girl, or this girl that he actually like legit likes. I can potentially, I can show you an image, but it's gonna come up a bit different. I'm actually just gonna fling it up on the screen as is, so I'll have to like adjust it after it goes in to help me with all the jazz. There we go. So, now some of these are actually police officers, but nonetheless, there's the girl over to like the left side of like the main character. That's him before he turns insane. By the way, when he just has like the thing over his eye and then black hair. She's a ghoul, and he legit likes her, and then he goes in, he saves her. There are two more that aren't even shown on this. He goes and he saves them. There's the guy in like the bottom left hand corner, who's actually the I don't want to do any major spoilers, but he's super important. And then the girl on the right's the person that bit him. The guy over to the right with the yellow hair and yellow jacket is actually his best friend that he's been friends with since like a young age, who doesn't know he's a ghoul. This guy actually joins the police force in order to save Kaneki, but then he ends up having a very bad time, which then leads us into this next season. The guy above there is completely insane and just wants to eat Kaneki. And then the girl above that is, she had, like a legit family, but then her mother and father were killed to the guys over to the top left in the white and the black hair. And, they were killed just for being ghouls. Now, this does, like, annoy me because, the police in this show are pretty bad themselves because they straight up just kill ghouls, basically, not actually knowing if they're evil or anything. Like, yes, I know that they have to eat human flesh, but at the same time, they could just resort to what Kaneki was doing, which he had to, like, drink mostly coffee. He had these special things that they could eat that was still human flesh, but they got it from suicide victims, actually. So like there are ways that like the two groups could really like coexist and live happily with each other, and like so on and so forth. And yeah, so then he goes in and he saves all his friends, but then because of a very tragic thing that happens at the very end of the show, he decides to turn himself in, and then we are finally at the third season. So in the third season, he's quite a bit different. He actually has lost all of his previous memories. They're still like stored inside of his head, but they're like kind of trapped in the evil persona, which is what I was like showing before this. Here, let me like fling this over here. They're kind of trapped within that body of him, who they call Heisei, or Heisei, something like that. And he's always like clawing at the edge of his brain type deal, whispering in his ear, saying, "Let me take over," like, "Remember me," blah, 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 so on and so forth. Now, there are like a few characters and so on and so forth that I haven't really talked about, but yeah, as I said, I don't want to like explain the entire show. I just want to give a run view and like say what I feel about it. And he's actually a part of a special police force that is made of people that they've turned into half ghouls. Now, there's something that is like annoys me about this show so far. It is going really slow, but honestly, if you watch any of the earlier Tokyo Ghouls 2, they go at a snail's pace, which is a bit annoying. And then like they rev up and become awesome like towards the end. I kind of want to just like watch the show when it's all the episodes are out, but I'm not going to if I really want to, just because of how slow it's moving currently. But yeah. And for whatever reason, I was saying earlier that like they can eat human food. I was like, no, 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 you can't just suddenly change this. But yeah, like even Kaneki, who in the previous season tried eating like burgers, his what used to be like his favorite food. They actually like really emphasized that like these special burgers was his favorite food. He like spat those out. Like he literally like grabbed it with like extreme caution, being like, if I don't like this, I don't know what in the world I can possibly do because of like yeah. It's his favorite food. He's always liked it since he was young, and then he ends up spitting it out, which like that would honestly that would cause a lot of people to like really that it really helped like get the severity of the situation to him, and so on and so forth. But so yeah, like in a previous season, the first season, he's spitting out all of his favorite foods, but yet in this one, he's capable of eating it with like no problem whatsoever. Like no 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 no. Like maybe if the food that they're giving them is like mixed with human blood or something like that, and it's just like so ingrained in the food you can't even see it. Like then I'd understand it if like that's what they say later in the season. But as of right now, I I don't understand why they can eat human food. But whatever. Whatever. And oh my god, this it punched me in the feels. This is actually I'm going to show you a picture of him nowadays. Bam, that's what he looks like now. He has part of his black hair back, but he still has like the white tips around his edge. He goes by like a new name. He is the squad leader of this like half ghoul group, each one with like their own personality, giving pizzazz to the show and all. But yeah, like I'm mainly focused on him. They showed older characters in the show. Like one of them became like a big baddie sort of deal. Kind of, they just kind of showed him as being a target, and that caused him to like freak out and have some of his memories sort of come back, not really, and then have the evil version inside of him like half awaken, which then they immediately actually shot him in the head, stopping him, and then put him back in a regular form. It's funny because like the evil version of him is like 110 times stronger too, because he like halfway gave in to him when he was trying to fight, giving him just like so much more ferocity and just fighting potential. Ooh, it was amazing. um but then they like actually showed, as I said, like the girl that he liked in in like the previous seasons. Well, that she liked him, and like he liked her definitely, but once he turned insane, all that liking kind of like disappeared a little bit. But whatever. But it's just like it's such a good show. I really have enjoyed it. They murdered me in the feels from showing those old characters and then not having him remember him right away. I was like, oh my god, you had just remember right this very minute, Kaneki, before I turn you into a ghoul all over again. Meaning kill him. And then save his life. So yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Now, what I would have sort of changed with it, as I was saying, I wouldn't have. If they later talk about this, okay, then, maybe I'll do something. But with him being able to eat human food, it really bugs me. Like, it really, truly bugs me. Maybe kind of like slow down and speed up in other areas, in like different areas. Such as they're introducing so many like different people, like some of them which we already know, like the little girl that I showed you in like the other image that I brought in. She knew Kaneki and like always called him like big brother and stuff like that after her family died, and like so on and so forth. And you're getting introduced to all these characters that you kind of like know stuff about, but you're not really 100% sure. And you're just seeing them, and you're seeing how they've changed from like the season 1 to season 2, because it's like a 2-year time gap. And it's just like it's kind of, it is catching you up, but in the same time it got me a little confused because it was like, who is that? And then I finally like realized, oh, it's that girl from the first season. And then I was like, who is this random chick that's just kind of in here now, and I don't know who she is. And then they're talking about all like the new people. What I would speed up in is like letting the story progress, getting his memory back type deal. But what I would slow down in is introducing like all the characters from the other seasons and introducing all of these new people. Like, oh my goodness. It's just like, it's kind of hard to keep track of it all in my head, and that's like the main thing I would change. Another thing I would change is what they're doing with like the tentacle stuff that would come out of his back. Like there are stuff. It's different. In the before seasons, it was one thing, but now in this latest season, it's completely different, and it really truly bugs me. I don't really know how to put it, but like they are just different in like how they look, such as like even the main characters like Haneke's, instead of being what it was before, which was just like all these tentacles, now it's sort of that, but he like changes how he uses them, the shapes that they make, and so on and so forth, which like I can understand because, you know, like 2 year time gap, but at the same time I'm like, this is not the same. Which I, you know what I'm saying, like I do think you do need to change some things and add some pizzazz, but it was bugging me. It annoyed me, and it still annoys me. I don't like that fact. And then there's like just so besides that, besides like the things looking different, I don't really have like that big of a quarrel with like how, as we're saying, like what food they're eating, so on and so forth. I know that they're gonna like ramp up the story sooner than later, showing out like all the people, what's gonna happen when he gets back his memories, and like so on and so forth. And because of that, I'm not gonna say like that they need to do that faster or anything, because I think, you know, like if you rush it, it's going to be a problem. But at the same time, I think like the way it is currently is a little slow, and I wish it would speed up a little bit, because then like I know I'd be having more fun watching anyway. But I do enjoy like how the story is progressing so far and the new people. And another thing is, with these new people that like are a part of his squad, I'll potentially get like an image in here of all of their faces. Here they are. Oh, that is not all of that. That's the girl. Her face looks so much less puffy. No, yeah, here it is. That's complete. Why? They did that wrong. Sorry, just like the image I was looking at was not proper. Where like I do not necessarily like his new like teammates. In blunt terms, like here they all are. That's him in the middle, and then like there are 3 guys, and then there's the one girl who's like just to the right of, or yeah, to the right of him, to the left of him, to the right of us on the screen. I don't necessarily like them, and I do want to see like how they change the show, but at the same time I don't like them. I like the idea of like having this squad, but having to pay attention to each one of them and like how their stories progress, each one of their problems, like the backstory of each one, what's going to happen to them in the future, is any of them going to die? Honestly, I think that they're just currently, as they are right now, I see them as characters to define and describe, to kill off. Now, I don't think all of them should be killed off, but I do guarantee, I can't guarantee it, but I am like 90% sure, but by the end of the show, at least 1 to 2 of them is going to die, or by the end of the season. If all of them are still alive by the end of the season, I will honestly be a little upset. Now, I agree with others, like, you do not need to kill off people to have a story's, like, show really progress. Like, I wish that they didn't do it and sink an Attack on Titan in a few cases. But at the same time, I also think that it can help the story in some ways. It can, like, give off why something is really important in some areas and so on and so forth. But it's just, like, I don't really like them. um... And like I don't like them as they are currently. I do like the story that's like coming from them, but I don't like them individually. Um they just kind of bug me currently. Maybe as like as the show goes on, if it actually shows them maturing a reasonable amount and causes, stuff to actually happen with them and their plot thickens faster than slower, definitely faster than slower, then I'll start to maybe enjoy them. But as of right now, I don't really enjoy the characters. I wish that they would kind of like hurry them along type deal and just kind of go back to what Kaneki was before. I honestly kind of wish that they stayed with the insane Kaneki because I really that was the time I had the most fun with the show, was when he just went on a rampage every time. But I do like the plot thickening. So yeah, if my changes, I would mess with the people much sooner than later. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. So, thank you all very much for watching today's My Thoughts. I know it's definitely been a bit different. It is one of the anime ones, so I'm still like working on how I want to talk about things and so on and so forth. And I know that I haven't described it in a perfect method, but the number one thing is just like getting out like how the story is and explaining of what I've really thought about it. And I will also give like a recommendation of I think you should watch this show. If you haven't watched it already, do it. It will make you so happy, make you so angry, make you excited and disappointed. It will hurt you and it'll do a lot of different things. And yeah, so if you haven't watched the show already, I definitely would. I give the show a solid 7 out of 10. Why? Because it does have like a few things in there that have really kind of bugged me. There are like people that it just kind of throws in there here and there that I haven't really liked. There are certain plots and like so on and so forth of like, as I was saying, how slow they kind of go when it comes to some things. Like, the first 2 seasons went pretty slow in general, but I've liked the effect from their slowness, I guess I should say, of, like, the end result. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. Go watch it, and I'm going to continue to watch it now. So, thank you all very much for watching today's... I already said this. Thank you all very much for watching today's My Thoughts. And I hope that you enjoyed. If you agree with me or disagree with me with anything I've said, please go ahead and leave a comment. I'll get back to it as soon as I physically can. And yeah. So I bid you all adieu. Goodbye.